I remember when we got off the train, I think the Jayas was there, and they gave us a banana. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget it, because I never knew what it was. I remember peeling it and biting into it and expecting a bone, mm-hmm. and keep eating it, and nothing happened. And it was like the best thing I ever ate in my life. And my father said he's going to work, he's going to be very rich, and he's going to buy me as many bananas as I want. A whole new life was opening for us, but it was very hard, very hard. We came to Montreal, and we couldn't find a place to live. We had no money. Finally, we found a room, because then you had to have key money to get an apartment. Mm-hmm. You couldn't just get an apartment.
Right.
So we got this room. There was this old Jewish couple. And they rented out rooms.
Remember the street?
Yes, St. Lawrence Boulevard near Bernard. Upstairs. And my sister was 6 weeks old.
Must have been neighbors.
And they wouldn't let us warm up the milk for my sister because it cost for the gas. But then they used to have these children's clinics. There was one on St. Joseph Boulevard in St. Lawrence. It's still there. I don't know what, I think it's a fire station now. So my mother would have to go to this clinic to warm up the food for the baby to give her to eat, because they wouldn't let us warm it up. At first I had to stay and take care of my sister because my mother and father had to go to work. Mm-hmm. So I took care of her because we had to get a little bit of money. My father got a job as a chemist in a fur factory, because then they used to make the dyes for the furs. So that was okay, because it was still sort of his field. Mm-hmm. And my mother got a job as a designer in a hat factory. Now, my mother never, but she was fantastic. She did it. One day, I don't know how, but my mother met this man. His name was Mr. Belmont, Jewish man. And somehow the story came out that we were living in this room with a baby, and he said, you know what? I have a cold flat on St. Dominic. It's empty. I was just going to rent it. He said, but you know what? You take it. I'll paint it for you. You take it, live in it as long as when you start making money and you could afford rent. Well, my mother couldn't believe it. You know, I mean, how many people like that do you meet? She said, we have this little girl, she's 2 years old, I have to work, my husband has to work, and we don't know what to do. So they said, bring her to school with her. Tell her to bring her with her. And you know, there was my sister going to school with me. She was in the back with crayons and everything. And that's how I started going to school. It was hard in school too, because I couldn't speak English, and I wouldn't speak it until I spoke it well. So I was like deaf and dumb. And difficult to get into this society where the other children had colored Kleenex and wore your little cashmere sweaters, and you didn't have anything. So this was a whole other thing. In Russia, no one had anything. Mm-hmm. So you were part of it. But here, all of a sudden, you had nothing and they had everything. So it was, and they really didn't want to mix with you. You were the greener, you know, you were the DP, the marquee, right?
Right.